Hello, everybody, and welcome to What Do You Say Anime? I am your host, Peter. And on today's episode, we are going to be talking about our favorite, our most meaningful, our best anime of all time between members of myself and the members of Watch Club. We have the starting point guard over here on my webcam. Our starting point guard for the San Antonio Spurs, we have young Patty Mills. Pat, how's it going?
It's good. You see me immortalize Kevin Ollie in the background there. That is his jersey. For anyone who's ever wondered why, we UConn fans love to celebrate our few successful players in the NBA, and that's Kevin Ollie back there. Yeah, we don't have many, but we have some. I'm doing good. How are you? How are you, Pete? Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you
I'm gonna
so
jump
much.
out there and say hello to that. Happy birthday.
I
Happy birthday.
appreciate that. I love doing podcasts on my birthday. This is the second time. We did one last year as well. It's now going to be the yearly tradition. It's a Monday. Who cares? There's nothing else to do. Saving the world one ED pill at a time. We have the Maha show bro himself, Miles. Miles, how's it going?
It's going quite well. I love that.
That was really good. That was really
I
clever.
just came up with that.
You have to acknowledge that.
It's fantastic. I don't know. That's fantastic. I'm doing great. I'm excited to talk about these shows.
Me too. And Johnny, I have nothing witty to say about you, but how's it going, my man?
I'm doing good, thank you. As a resident 12-year-old, it's hard to understand the concept that someone is 30 years old, so congratulations.
Yeah, you're literally double his age. It's insane.
I get it. It's okay. You know what? I'm having fun. I'm feeling great. I've never felt better in my entire life. So you know what? 30, bring it on. Let's go.
Not actually 12.
But today, like we said, we're going to be talking about our favorite, our most memorable, passionate, inspirational anime that reflects us as anime viewers in a 3x3 format. So I'm going to list, or we're each going to list, like 9 shows that mean a lot to us for various different reasons. So I'll start with myself first, and we're going to jump into my 9 anime. They are Food Wars, Maidsama, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, Toradora, Konosuba, and especially the movie Konosuba, Surezuri Children, A Place Further Than the Universe, Berserk, and Violet Evergarden. So, to start my journey, we start in the year 2017. I am a hot up-and-coming stockbroker in New York City. Just kidding. But me and my buddy started a company in 2017. And we wanted to watch like a show together while we were eating lunch. And at the time, I wasn't watching anime. He was kind of watching anime. He's like, let's watch anime together during lunch. I'm like, sure. Like, I saw Full Metal Alchemist. I've seen like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! Growing up as a kid, but I really wasn't a big anime watcher. He goes, okay, well, we should watch this one my friend recommended called Food Wars. And for some reason, at the age of 26, my brain was like, yep, this is it. This is what you've been waiting for your whole life. This is peak whatever form of media I've ever seen in my entire life. And since then, I've been hooked on anime. I loved Food Wars since the beginning, except for, actually, as I say that, I dropped season 5. It got so bad. Yeah, but like at the time in my life, you know, like when you start anime and it's just like every show's like
Everything's good.
Oh my god, Naruto is so good. Oh my god, My Hero Academia, this is the best shit ever. That was me with Food Wars. I was just like, this is peak anime. I need to show everybody this. This is so funny. And then I realized nobody else thought it was funny unless you watch anime type of thing. So it was really fun. But I mean, that's literally what kickstarted like everything about anime for me, was Food Wars of all shows. So I think I absolutely had to include it in my 9. It means so much to me in like the dumbest way possible, but it does mean a lot in terms of just anime in general. And then we're gonna get a little silly. We're gonna move on to our next show, which is called Maidsama, which is a romantic comedy about a poor girl who works at a maid cafe to support her family. And why this is on my list is because this kind of introduced me to the culture of anime and more importantly, waifus. Because this is my first ever waifu, Mikasa from Maidsama, and I was like, she's so hot. Like, I wonder if anybody else like has crushes on anime girls. Guess what? It's an entire culture. People buy body pills. Get your Dakimuras of whoever you want. I was just like, what the hell? Like, I didn't realize like everybody else was like me, and they have like in some cases 1, some cases 5, or some people like Tyler who has 50. It's a culture in anime. I was like, this is crazy. And then you also have the husbandos, but nothing hit me quite as hard as Maidsama did as like my like 20th anime I ever saw. And I was just like, I was blown away by like what this was to me. Following up with that is something completely different, which is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which up until last year was my favorite anime of all time. I thought it was like one of the best like told stories in like 64 episodes. Everything about it was amazing. There's a reason why it's the #1 rated show on Mal, and Attack on Titan season 4 never will. It was, I mean, for like a millisecond, but that doesn't count. Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, just to me, an overall amazing story. I love it. I think most people who have seen it agree that it's at least very good. Just to me, it's a masterpiece. Toradora, #4 for me. This was the show that hit me pretty hard. In terms of just like the relationship aspect, I really enjoyed the chemistry. I know we'll have some debates about that, but I really enjoyed everything about Toradora. And what makes it stand out compared to other rom-coms is I was watching this in the winter and my power went out. And I was about 9 or 10 episodes deep into Toradora. So at 2 o'clock in the morning, I drove to my gym, which is thankfully open 24/7, so I could get their Wi-Fi, so I could sit on a like a machine bike, so I could watch Toradora, and I did that. And
Absolute legend.
no anime has ever made me do that except for Toradora. And I think it's, as of right now, it's my #3 anime of all time. I love Toradora. What it did to me is just so stupid and silly, but I love the show so much.
I have to ask, how often are you watching shows though late at night and then your power goes out and you have the opportunity to go to the gym? That's the question though. That's where
Yeah, very, very rarely that's ever even crossed my mind, but it was, man, I don't know. Toradora for a lot of people is like the #1 romance. To me, it is too, and something about it just stuck with me, and I think that like reflects my taste on like rom-coms in general. Since I have 2 of them on here, I'm a big rom-com. Actually, I have 3 of them on here because we'll get to that at #6. But #5 is Konosuba, especially the movie. When I say the movie, it came to Minnesota in the theaters for one night. And I got my tickets and everything and went. I was expecting it to be 10 to 15 people. Because when I went and saw like A Silent Voice in theaters, there were 6 people. So I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I got to the movie theater, it was sold out. It was 200 just disgusting, sweaty ass weebs, all watching Konosuba. I was like the perfect amount of drunk for this movie. And everybody in the theater was just like me. I had an absolute blast. It was one of the best movie experiences of my life. And not even taking away from the rest of the show, because Konosuba is my #4 anime of all time. I love Konosuba in general, but like the movie especially leaves like a special memory to me because of that moment I got to share with the community. And then COVID's like, ha ha ha, just kidding, no more anime movies.
Yeah, fuck you.
So I'll have to hopefully in like, I don't know, 5 months I can go to the movies again. But that was like a really special like thing of like knowing the community also enjoys this and there's people like me out there. And I got to like talking with some people there while we were at the movie theater, like waiting for the movie to start. So it's just really, it holds a special place in my heart for the community and anime in general. And then another rom-com that I'm going to be talking about is my #6 show, which is called Surizuri Children. And I think this one might be a little different because this is the anime I've watched the most. And that's why I put it on here. This is like my comfort anime. Whenever I just need a serotonin boost, whenever I just need to sit back and relax, I watch Surizuri Children. The English sub and the dub are both incredible. I love this show so much. It's simple. It's like 12-minute episodes. I think it doesn't get like the praise it deserves because it's a short form and not like a long-standing running anime, like the traditional 22, 23-minute type of shows. But Surizuri Children to me is an incredible, incredible romance, like rom-com show about 6 different like couples all interacting differently based off like their personalities. And I love it. It's such a great show. And it means a lot to me just because I've seen it like 10 times. So I thought I'd add like this comfort show into the list. #7 is A Place Further Than the Universe. If you've seen our watch club, what it means to me, it's the main reason why I started the podcast in general. It made me want to go out and explore more and do more. And if I have an idea, just run with it. Like, who cares if it's a silly anime podcast? Just go with it and see what happens. And it kind of like legit is probably the only anime that has like legit changed my life because of it, I've met all of you. I've like changed, like legit have changed my life because of the show. So it's really silly in some ways, but to me, it's a lot. It means a lot, and I just really enjoy A Place Further in the Universe. Number 8 is Berserk. A little cheating because this is more reflecting of the manga, but I have seen Berserk 97, the movies, and Berserk, unfortunately, 2016 and 2017. I mean, I have Guts tattooed on my arm. Like, I love Berserk. It's the best. I think it's the best story of all time. And if you can see me on my webcam, I'm holding up all my Berserk stuff. But Berserk, to me, it's the greatest story ever written, in my personal opinion. I love it. I love the stories. Guts is my favorite main character in history. And if you ever want to talk Berserk, let me know. I will talk Berserk anytime, any day. I love it. And then number 9, last but not least, is Violet Evergarden, which is just my favorite anime of all time. Not much is really to say, just that I absolutely love it. Episode 10 means a lot to me. It's the only anime that like made me like bawl my eyes out, not just cry, but like bawl, emotionally tear me apart. I like when I watched Violet Evergarden, like episode 10, I had to go work out and like force serotonin into my body because I was so sad. Like, if something does that needs to go on my list. So those are my 9. Recapping again: Food Wars, Maid-sama, Brotherhood, Toradora, Konosuba, Surizuri Children, A Place Further in the Universe, Berserk, and Violet Evergarden. All right, you boys, you can critique me or whatever you want to do with my list.
So first off, I want to echo your Konosuba movie experience because while I was at college, thankfully I went to college somewhere near a big city up in Boston, so I was able to get like these theater experiences a lot for movies, for the anime movies because there was enough of a population of people there to go and see them. And the Konosuba movie experience that you had was the same exact as mine. Like I expected the theater to be empty because I had seen like the Bunny Girl Senpai movie and there was like 10 people there at that time, and then a month later, I'm at the Konosuba movie, and my mind was blown. Like the crowd was so loud too. Like everyone was laughing and like shouting at the screen. It was a lot of fun. Like the experience was great. So I echo your experience with that. And then the series Children, I guess with your logic or what you said about it, that makes sense now why it's on your list, because that's the only one that really stands out to me as like a show that you don't talk a lot about. Because with all the other shows, I feel like you talk a lot about them on your list, or in your 9, I should say, that you've talked about a lot. So, but now that I know, I'm not surprised that it's on your 9 by 9 or 3 by 3. God, 9 by 9. That would be a lot of anime.
That would be a lot of anime.
That'd be too much for Miles.
It's actually it's more than I've consumed.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go.
It's 81 of
so
them.
Miles would then have to have Violet Evergarden on his 9
yes,
by 9.
you would have to be forced to have
it. There we go.
I would be like, okay, coming in at number 63, I have Rising of the Shield Hero. This anime, I hate it, but here it is on the list because I haven't watched 81 anime.
Yeah.
So an omission, whatever. I'm a little surprised if Pete is no Log Horizon.
Yeah. There was 2 that I was like, that was on the cuffs. One was Log Horizon and the other one was Made in Abyss. Just because Made in Abyss is like the reason why we started Watch Club. I guess that was like our first like introduction into Watch Club. So that also has like a special place in my heart as well. But Log Horizon, I mean, I love Log Horizon, but it was somebody with like my arsenal of how many anime I've seen. There's got to be a loser, and Log Horizon was one of the losers.
I'm fine with Log Horizon losing, so don't worry.
Yeah, I guess it's just like because you like, I don't know, I could just like say anything and you would respond watch Log Horizon, and I've never heard you type like watch Maid-sama. You know what I mean?
Don't watch it though.
So
Maid-sama in general is like a 7 out of 10 rom-com, but it's just the fact that like it was my first ever waifu. I had no idea like that culture existed. I had
never forget your first.
You never forget your first, especially your waifu. And it was just like, imagine just like knowing nothing and then going onto like Reddit and be like, hey, what's the thing that people like about anime girls? They're like, oh, waifus? I'm like, what the hell is a waifu? And it's just like well, here's a tsunami of knowledge of like, oh my god. So it was just like
I guess
it was like a welcome to anime thing.
Your order of doing that is like super duper bizarre to me. Like I mean, I don't know. Like I watched a little anime growing up, but not like a ton. And I got more into it when I was like 24 or something like that. But like, I mean, I like to think that I knew what a waifu was when I was like 14.
For as big of a nerd that I am, I used to make fun of anime kids. Like I used to just say like The Simpsons is my favorite anime to like trigger anime nerds.
You've become the very thing you swore to destroy.
Yeah, it's just like it was something I never got. Even though like I played League of Legends like 14 hours a day. Like I was a major nerd, but like anime was just like not it for me until Food Wars. Like it makes no sense.
I didn't get it because I thought it was all shonen. So. Because like all the popular ones when I was growing up were like Naruto and Dragon Ball Z and stuff, and I was just like, wow, couldn't care less. And you know what? That's held true.
No kidding. Well, that's my list. Jai, do you have any other do you have any words about my list, or should we just jump right into yours?
Most of the shows that I expected Toradora, I expected Violet Evergarden, I expected Full Metal Alchemist. One thing I thought you would put on was Mob Psycho, which I'm surprised you didn't put.
Oh, that's a good point.
I do love Mob Psycho. Reagan is my favorite anime character of all time. So that one, I mean, I gotta cut something. And for as much as I love Mob Psycho, I don't think it has like an impact compared to other shows that are on this list. Because like in terms of like my rankings, Mob Psycho is higher than like A Place Further in the Universe. And it's higher than like Maidsama and stuff like that. I just thought it'd be better if I introduced like things that like impacted me more. Where Mob Psycho is just a great show.
Yeah, I understand that for sure. I have a lot of shows like that on my list.
Hey, speaking of which, let's get into your list.
All right, yeah. So you guys are good. It's like you guys were like surprised about Pete having Food Wars as his first anime. You guys are gonna be very surprised when you see mine.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is my list going from top to bottom, left to right. We have Teasing Master Tagagi-san. I can't say it with a straight face.
Yeah.
This once we get to the explanation, we'll see why. Fairy Tail, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, Toradora, ReZero, Darling and the Franxx, Dr. Stone, Planet After Story, and Your Name. So let's just get this over with first. So like P is like I also kind of was the guy that bullied anime fans, like low key. Okay, like
hold on,
don't say bully.
You guys are terrible.
Don't put me out as like the bad guy. I just like jokingly made fun of anime fans. Yeah, I would never bully.
I wasn't like going online saying you like anime. You're such a dumbass. Like no,
I never did that.
I was just like low key, like but like okay.
Too late to go back now, Pete. That's what you did.
All right, I guess I'm the school bully. My bad.
Back to my list.
Yes.
Okay, so like the only experience I had with anime before watching this was yaoi fangirls and the rape scene from SAO. I'm not joking.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So like I saw these clips on YouTube. I was like, what is this? And I saw this like really wholesome like anime. I was like, wait, what is this? Like this isn't what I thought anime was. So then like I thought like fuck it, I might as well just watch this, see what it is. And I watched the whole thing in one day. It was insane. I watched all 12 episodes in one day. I've almost never done that. It was shocking for me. I was like, wait, what is this? Like, do I actually like this? Am I actually a weeb? Like the realization of like, oh no, something's wrong with me. I'm joking, but like, yeah. So after that, it's like, so I watched Fairy Tail. Honestly, I don't know why to this day. I think the only reason is because like it was like a show that was like popular, but wasn't like as many people talking about. Like it's not as popular as like Naruto, Dragon Ball, or stuff like that. So that's the reason why I watched it, I think. And then like, like I liked it, but like it's nothing like special to me now. It was special to me before because like Pete says, like my hero, it's like my hero, you think that was like the best thing, and like Naruto, you think that was the best. But yeah. So moving on after that, we have a Dragon Maid. So Dragon Maid was like another show I just saw like clips of on YouTube, those clips of like Luca like having the little boy wash her with that stuff like that. So like it was mostly just because I knew about it. I was like, hey, this looks interesting. Because at this time, like I didn't know much about anime. I was like very new into the scene, so that was what I watched. And then moving on after that, we have Toradora, which like P is one of my favorite anime. It's either number 1 or 2. The other one is coming up. Pete already said his stuff about Toradora, so I'm not gonna say too much about it. But yeah, like Pete said, I think it's the greatest rom-com of all time. I absolutely love the characters. I know people on here will disagree, but I'm gonna stand Taiga my entire life. I don't
We're
care
a
what you
50-50 group here
Yeah,
on
we are.
Toradora.
We
I
can
don't care
very
what you
much
say.
so disagree.
Taiga's best girl. But moving on after that, we have
Sorry,
oh,
go ahead.
oh shut up. Anyways, moving on after that, we have ReZero, which like season 1, I don't think I would have put on here if it was just season 1. Since like I thought it was like I thought it was an amazing show, but it left me kind of wanting more. Season 2, it has absolutely blown me away. I had sky high expectations for it, and it absolutely blew me away. Season 2, it's probably like the best anime. It was my anime of the year last year. It might honestly be anime of the year this year, since it's broadcasting stuff. But anyway, yeah, I love the characters. I think Subaru.
Continue, please. No one heard that.
Yeah, I love the characters in it. Rembus girl, fuck you. I don't care what you say. Subaru's a fucking Chad. And yeah, moving on that. So,
Yep.
Do people disagree with the Rem Best Girl take? I mean, I know I do, but like I'm
I agree.
contrarian.
Oh yeah, there's a lot.
A lot of
Oh.
people, they're just haters. They don't understand.
Yeah, we
Anyways,
don't want
so moving
slaves.
on to that,
I guess
like
that's a
this.
wrong take.
Yeah, so like
Go ahead.
this is interesting for me. So like this next show I have is Darling in the Franxx. So like this was actually like the only show that I watched at the time that was actually like still airing, I believe. Like, well, maybe it wasn't still airing, but it was like very recently. Like it probably like stopped airing like a month ago or something like that. So like honestly, before this, I didn't understand the concept of seasonals really. Like I know, like my knowledge of anime was very small. Like I had no idea how this stuff worked. I thought it was just like all released at once. It was very weird. But watching it, like I honestly thought it was really good because it was one of the because at this I think I watched this before Toradora, so like it was one of the anime that like stuck with me emotionally for a long time before I realized like, hey, what the ending's kind of garbage, but
Yeah.
yeah. But like before, like all things considered, like I thought the story was really good up until then. Like I thought the characters and their interactions were great. I thought the world building was great, and yeah. So for these bottom 3 shows, I don't have too much to say apart of like so like the top 6 are like shows that like kind of like influence my taste and like are like my favorite animes. The ones on the bottom here are just anime that like, I think are really good. Dr. Stone, it is like for me, it's such a fun show. I can watch this at any point and just have a blast. It is like I love all the science behind it. Like I understand people say like it is absolutely absurd, like none of this makes sense, but like I don't know. It's just a fun show. It's anime. Like the character has a broccoli haircut. Like come on.
Mm.
And after that, we have Planet After Story, which is probably the like I don't think I've ever felt so much watching an anime. This Planet After Story, I think I binged maybe 20 episodes in one day because I wanted to see what happened. I've never felt like so. I don't even know how to describe it. So like
Sad.
yeah, sad.
Maybe that's a good way to
It's
describe
very
it, right?
sad.
Yeah, but I was a fucking mess after when yeah, and then last is Your Name. I wish I was an anime fan when this came out because I wish I watched this in theaters. I had to watch it online, and it's just not the same experience watching this on your laptop instead of watching it in theaters. Like the animation is probably like one of the best I've ever seen in anime. The music is absolutely amazing, and yeah, I can't say like enough praise about it. But yeah, that's my 9 by 9.
There you
Right
go.
on, right on.
I like it. So the Darling and the Franks one surprised me the most on the list, but with your logic, I think that makes sense. And also, I loved the Darling and the Franks too. Like, I don't know, I really
Yeah,
enjoyed it too, and it definitely
yeah,
got
it's
that like
just the ending.
emotional
Like that's
response. And even the ending, I don't think is as bad as people say it is. I think it's not great. Obviously, it's a pretty bad ending. It's not. Yeah, no, I knew that was
Now,
coming.
Pete,
It's not the. It's bad. It is still a
it's
bad
not
ending.
the worst. It's not the worst by far. There are worse things like I don't already know, but anyways.
There are a lot of worse endings, and then yeah, I'll make my Toradora joke. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I agree with.
Read it
I think your
out.
list summarizes you pretty well. And it's okay to admit that you watched Fairy Tail because of Lucy's, because of Lucy. It's okay. Like that's kind of like.
I did not say that.
Yeah, well, that you didn't say it,
Or
but it's like
Ezra,
it's
yeah.
probably why. Or Ezra,
Yeah.
it's okay. You can be a
Maybe.
man of different
I
tastes.
don't know.
If you
Maybe.
don't like Lucy
I
more
mean,
than
I watched
Ezra, then I
Dragon
don't know
Maid
what's
after
wrong with
watching
you,
Fairy
but
Tail, so maybe that
Mhm.
influenced me. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I
well,
was
there you
most
go.
surprised by Fairy Tail. I don't think I even knew you watched Fairy Tail.
Yeah, me. I didn't
Yeah,
either,
no,
really.
I don't really talk about it, but it's like the Naruto. It's like, why would you talk about it? Like, actually, people talk about Naruto a lot
Naruto's
still.
great.
Yeah, people
what?
talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
but
the
like,
best
it's like
shonen of the past decade. Yeah, it's
too
pretty
too
great.
much even.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, there's not too much to talk about since first of all, none of you watched it here. So like, what am I supposed to talk
What,
That's
about?
fair.
Takagi? I've seen Takagi.
No, I'm saying for Fairy Tail.
Oh,
I've
yeah,
watched
no.
one episode of Fairy Tail.
That's
So-
one
My
more than
friends
me.
have watched Fairy Tail, and
That's
that's all
nice.
I need to know. So there we go.
I'm surprised you didn't put Sword Art on here, to be honest.
Why would I put SAO on here?
Because you're like a resident SAO defender, and
What?
you
What?
love the OPs and everything like that.
That's
I
the
don't know.
only thing I like about SAO. The plot is absolute garbage.
Right.
That's the only
Why'd
thing
you have
I
to do that,
like.
Pete? Why'd you have to put my show on blast like that, bro?
Oh, my
I
bad.
think we're like
Because
unironically
deserves to
getting
be
that
on
defense
blast.
in a second here, like after Daika.
Yeah, you will unironically get a defense by the end of the show. So SAO fans, don't be turned off by this attack, this
But watch
vicious
ReZero instead.
ambush.
It's great.
You could watch both and enjoy them both equally. Sorry,
Maybe
I
not
don't know.
equally.
I like the Your Name being on there. That theater experience, I
Mhm.
agree, is one of the best things I ever got to experience. So I'm glad I did.
I wish I got to experience that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Did you
Any
get to see
clothing
Weathering with you?
thoughts?
Sorry. Did you get to see Weathering with you, Johnny, in
Yes,
theaters?
no, I did not get to see it in theaters.
That's like a
but
close
I did
second.
watch it.
So I was gonna say that's a close second, but I guess you haven't seen that yet. So we'll just have to wait for the next Shinkai film in 2 years, and then you finally get to have that experience in theaters because
Mhm.
it's worth it.
Right on. All right. Miles, you ready?
Yeah, I'm super duper ready. So I went for diversity a lot less than these other folks.
Yeah.
We have like a lot of like one writer and one director in here, but we'll continue. So my list in like order from like top to bottom, left to right is Devilman Crybaby. The second one is my clip is from Higurashi New, but it really just sort of is when they cry anything. So I'll talk about that a little bit more when I get going. Number 3 is Shiki. 4 is Psychopaths. 5 is Madoka Magica. 6 is Konosuba, because we shouldn't have a list without Konosuba, is what I feel. 7 is Ping Pong the Animation. 8 is Tokyo Godfathers, and to keep the whole trend up, at 9 we have the quintessential quintuplets.
I saw. Why did you put Quints at 5?
At 9.
I don't. Why did you put it at 5 though?
Why did I put it at 5?
Yeah.
That's a great question.
Put it right in the middle. Tell us who you are.
Wow. I mean, that's correct, right? Like, that's the correct decision. But I didn't. So,
Sorry, I didn't mean to call you out. I just.
no, I mean, I deserve it, really. Okay. So starting at number 1, we have Devilman Crybaby. Also, I'm going to spoil some things for my shows. So if you don't want to be spoiled for any of these shows that I've listed here, in not huge amounts, but in some amounts, skip my section and go to Pat's. Because why I like these shows directly involves their subject matter quite a bit. So I remember when I like first watched Devilman Crybaby. It was the anime that I watched right before it, High School DxD. So we
Nice.
You were horny that week, weren't you?
We went to like just a completely different spectrum, but I was like, oh, okay, this is like, we got like devils and stuff. Like, this will probably be, I don't know, similar enough. And boy, was I wrong. But
Very.
like this show absolutely blew my fucking mind. I watched it all in one day. I got to the end, and I had to talk to someone about it because holy shit, that ending. But I didn't have anyone to talk to it because it came out like a week before or whatever, and like none of my friends had seen it, and so I bullied people into watching it so I could talk to them about it. I think the thing that like I really love and like what makes it my like favorite anime ever, and like what I'm using to start up this list is that uh, sort of like the subversion of expectations you get from it, and the fact that the protagonist just fucking loses at the end. Everything goes to shit, and at the end, everyone dies, and you're just like, it is not a thing that not only anime doesn't do very often, but like media in general doesn't do super often. It's not that there's never hurdles or anything, but just complete and abject failure and having it end on that note is super rare, and I loved that. I thought it was just like a really bold decision to do. So number 2, we're gonna do Higurashi, when they cry. So there's a few different things in this series. There were 2 animes back in like 04 and like 06 or so, and then now there's a sequel that is currently airing that is fantastic. So I really like visual novels, and one of the ones that I love, along with everyone else in the entire world, is Doki Doki Literature Club. So one day I typed into Google, I don't know, literally anything that's like Doki Doki Literature Club. And Higurashi was like one of the first recommendations. So I looked into it a little bit, obviously not too much because, when with things like this, with like mysteries and all of that, you don't want, too much. So I started reading it, and they're, I just like fell in love with it instantly. And, then after I finished reading it, I watched the anime, and like the anime wasn't as good, but I like loved the anime. And then, I don't watch seasonal stuff, but I've been keeping up with this seasonally. Like, it means a lot to me. And I think it's because it does, one, it's like this very long saga that they managed to tie together. Okay. Which is like good because endings suck. And then 2, the whole atmosphere of the town they're present in, and the way they do all of the different scenarios with like the time loops and stuff just like really gets me. If I'm a sucker for anything, it is mystery and time loops. And so Higurashi really just like merges those in like a way I love. Much to Pat's pleasure, at number 3,
Yes.
we have Shiki. So I found Shiki through a podcast that had like Digibro and Giguk and like Mother's Basement on it several years ago at this point, where they did like a Halloween episode, and they each brought forward like their favorite horror anime. I really like horror as like a genre, in things that aren't anime. Anime generally does it pretty terribly.
Pretty bad, yeah. No,
Yeah,
horror
Yeah,
is
you can
bad.
be honest. It's bad.
yeah,
bad,
you know,
usually.
people often like throw out like Future Diary or something, and it's
That's
just like,
bad.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, oh, like I don't know, Tokyo Ghoul or something. And it's
Does that count as horror? Like,
it's
It
listed
does.
under it.
It's definitely listed as a horror.
And
Yep.
let me tell you, every list about horror anime that are good includes it. So I had never heard of this, but the premise sounded super cool. And I love sort of like pretentious bullshit, like art style and stuff. And Shiki like certainly has that. It has sort
Yeah.
of like a,
Yeah.
that's another thing that I haven't mentioned. That's another thing I loved about Devilman Crybaby. If like the art style is like at all avant-garde, I eat it up. So Shiki, I thought, had like a really interesting approach to like supernatural phenomena.
And hair.
And hair. The hair is absurd. It makes Yu-Gi-Oh look tame.
Yeah, it does.
And So like a question I love asking people is like, how many times would you have to see a ghost before you started believing in ghosts? And provided you don't just you know, believe in ghosts currently, there's nothing wrong with that. But like I'm firm that I would have to like see a ghost, full-fledged ghost, and interact with it like 3 times or so before I was like, you know what? Okay, I guess ghosts are real. So like the protagonist or one of them in Shiki um has this really interesting like journey from like trying to figure out what's happening to the town to accepting the supernatural stuff's happening, and like it takes him a bit because he's a very empirical man, um but once he accepts it, he starts going about the problem in like a very scientific way, and I thought that was like super cool. So I know
Oh
it
my God,
bothered Pat how long
this guy
it
is
took.
Kiritsugu. I just realized that this guy is Kiritsugu from Fate. He looks like him and he acts like him too.
Yeah, it's
That's so
fantastic.
good. So for me, what bothered me the most, because this is I like that this is on the list too, because we can talk about it. This inspired Watch Club, this show, or
Yes, it
this show
did.
partly inspired Watch Club. Like Miles and I started talking one day, and we were like, "Hey, let's just recommend shows for each other." I made him watch Origairu, I think, and then he made me watch Shiki, and we both had we both had positive and negatives to both shows, and we were like, man, this would be really fun to do like as a group, and so we invented book clubs for anime because that's a really original idea, right? Um, but it worked out that way, and
Yeah,
now we have Watch Club, and it's really fun. And my
yeah.
main problem with this show was I felt frustrated as hell by a certain character's decision at the end of it, and I also thought the ending felt rushed. It did, and I think you agreed with me
Yeah,
on that. At
I
least the ending
do,
feels
but
rushed.
and then this will be my last thing about Shiki because I don't want to go too
Yeah,
long
that's
on
true.
it. But uh, the ending is super rushed, but to me, it's in like a Goodfellas rushed way, where it's rushed because everything is just going to hell all of a sudden. We have hit this climax, and
Yeah,
like people's time to adjust and plan is over, but things keep changing. And so I mean, I love the way it shook out at the end. I thought it was great. Um, so we'll save that. One day we'll get everyone to watch Shiki and we can
yeah.
have a discussion about it. One day. Um,
Fuck the priest. That's all I can say. Fuck the priest, bro.
um,
That guy
You think?
sucks. I hate him.
Don't say that to a priest. He might do it back to you.
No, I'm
Oh
too
no!
old for that.
yikes.
Maybe Johnny though. We gotta be
Oh
careful.
my god!
Protect Johnny.
Don't
Yeah.
want to go to church. It's all
Set me
you.
up for that one. Set me.
Yikes.
Yeah. Thank the
Bruh.
Lent. Everyone enjoying Lent. I hope.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know I am.
Uh,
Anyways.
Number 4 is Psycho-Pass. Psycho-Pass was one of the first anime I watched. I think it was like the 3rd anime I watched or something. And I fucking love Psycho-Pass. So the setting I think is really cool. I love general dystopian stuff, so that's in here. Um, and then I also have always just like attached myself to antagonists more, and this has the best antagonist in anime.
Makashiba.
He is so great, and what I love about him so much, there's like a line that I really took away from Psycho-Pass that I feel like no one else cares about because I've tried to find clips of it like all the time and just like no one has bothered clipping it. So Makashima is this like very pretentious bad guy. He like firmly believes in his vision of the world. He's often like quoting literature and stuff. There's like this point where he's talking about do androids dream of electric sheep, and his like second in command guy talks about like, oh, like I heard there was a movie like back in the day about that, referring to Blade Runner. And then he goes on this whole spiel about how they're completely different and that like they both have their merits, but like to understand what I'm talking about, you should probably read the source material. And like I really liked that. But later when he finds out, I'm not, this is, Pete hasn't got there and he's actively watching it. There is a very
True.
major plot twist in this. And essentially this group of people who, much like him, think that they're special and like the world's geniuses and stuff and like have a right to control people, offer him to join. And during their conversation, they're back and forth when he's like mulling this over. He quotes Jonathan Swift, and you know, then he starts like beating this person up basically, and then they're like, what are you doing, like before he's like gonna kill them, like, you're like us, you're special, you're a genius, da da da. And he says, thank you, but the genius is Swift, and kills him. And I don't know why, but like self-awareness from this guy who has appeared so like self-absorbed this entire time to like realize that he is not all great and all powerful, that he is getting these influence from like other thinkers and stuff, and he actually respects their work, was just sort of like this really cool mood change for it. Other than that, the Dominators are fucking awesome. It's really
So
cool
good.
to see people explode. So that's like why
So they're Chunibios?
I
Are they
what?
Chunibyo?
What?
Oh, yeah,
No.
it's like
School
but
commit
it's like
suicide?
Chunibios if they actually took over the world.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Okay,
Successfully did it.
that's
Yeah,
like
I
what
mean-
I was trying to just process it all. It also makes sense that you like you're a Swiftie, so it makes sense that you would like that quote.
Yes,
You know.
yeah, Jonathan and Taylor.
Yeah.
It's so
Sorry.
that's great. So in number 5 we have Madoka Magica, and so I like magical girl shows. I think magical girls are fucking badass. And so I had to decide between this and Sailor Moon for which magical girl representation I wanted to put in here. And I decided on Madoka because I don't shut up about Madoka.
No,
I
you
think
don't.
it's fantastic. I think that what I really like about it is that I think it's more encompassing of the genre than people give it credit for. But even when people hear like, "Oh, you gotta watch Madoka Magica," and they like finally do, they're like, "Wow, I really should have." Like, they're still surprised that they enjoyed it. So that like whole like meta aspect of it is very pleasing to me because just because the protagonists of a show are magical girls doesn't mean that the show is like bad or for girls or something, especially as like Madoka goes to like show. Like, it's very mature in its adult themes. It has like really good adult supporting characters, which is like rare in anime, which is cool. Like, Madoka's mom is like a 10 out of 10 mom. And then Sayaka Miki is like my favorite anime character. I really like, again, I don't know why I have this obsession with protagonists failing, but I do. And so like her whole sort of self journey from realizing like why she was doing the things she was doing and how she was being selfish, and her like eventual descent into despair was just really cool to me. I thought it was great. If you want to hear me talk about Madoka more, we have a Watch Club episode. You can listen to that. Number 6 for me is Konosuba. Konosuba is amazing. It's just as serious as my previous 5 shows. And what I love about Konosuba is that more than any other show, for sure, or like anime for sure, and probably show, it gives me the sense of just like hanging out with your friends and like going and doing things with your friends. Like, the group dynamic that they have is fantastic. Everyone has their own quirks and like weird absurdities about themselves, and they make fun of each other for it, and they help each other with the things, and they fight and they do things together, and they get annoyed at each other, and it's just like you're going on adventures with your friends and stuff. It's like super cool. Kazuma's relationship with the girls is like way more like equitable than like other shows of this vein, where there's like usually sort of a superiority.
Yeah.
And Kazuma thinks that about himself, but like it's not apparent in the reality of the situation.
Mhm.
So I don't know. So Konosuba is like my comfort anime. It just like the EDs at the end and stuff just make me so happy. Them doing the little thumbs up thing in the OP makes me happy. It's just a happy show. I love it. 7, we have Ping Pong the animation. So I love Ping Pong the animation. What my favorite thing about it is that it sort of has this like perspective shift about who the protagonist is towards the end of it, but it's been telling you the entire time who the protagonist was, and it was still like shocking to me, even though they not even foreshadowed it, just told you. There's like a whole theme, like they do bits in the past about how this guy is the hero of the show, and it came out of nowhere for me. I thought it was awesome. The moment where he decides to like man up and like practice, and he comes and he like has the hurt knee, and you're like, oh no, it's like setting him up for, you know, failure and stuff, but he manages to like persevere through that. Is just fantastic. The direction is great. Literally every character is fleshed out like a ton. It is amazing to me. Like, you know, just how I cared about literally every character in the show, and they're playing ping pong. It's like, just really cool. I really like the animation. I know that's like a hit or miss thing, but I thought it was really cool. So at point 8, we're gonna have our like our token Satoshi Kon film. If you have at all kept up with Watch Club, you know that we as a group very much enjoy Satoshi Kon.
Very much so.
Yes. But Tokyo Godfathers is my favorite Satoshi Kon film. And I think that's like a little interesting because, like, I don't know, I tend to like darker stuff, and his other films are relatively dark, and this one isn't really.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately, because it has this like very fleshed out characters, and the story is fleshed out and just like complete and full, I didn't need to know anything else after I finished Tokyo Godfathers. And that's where I think it gets the edge over something like Perfect Blue in my head, where Perfect Blue has this very open-ended ending, you know, but I didn't know how exactly to interpret it, you know, upon first watching it. You know, I just love how humanizing Tokyo Godfathers is of the cast. And it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Slumdog Millionaire, where
okay, I can
they're
see
going
that.
through all of these like happenstances. So instead of like reflecting back on them, it's like their current thing where they like learn all the different things or whatever. You know, you get captured by a Yakuza boss, and you know, have to chase down someone who stole a baby, and you do all this stuff, and you just learn a lot about the characters throughout it. I think it's great. And so I saved the best for last. Number
The
9.
outlier.
The very, very severe outlier. Yeah.
We have the quintessential quintuplets. So, one, I love the quintessential quintuplets. I think it's great. Here's why. One, the premise is absurd. This is a crazy premise. It's like someone was like, oh, what if we took a harem show and there were quintuplets in it, and
Yeah.
we did it, you know, like, that's crazy. 2, I knew there would be a winner going into it. I didn't have to worry about some stupid bullshit, no winner, harem winner. Like, I know someone wins this. 3, it's set up like a mystery. I get to figure out who's going to win. Over, I love mystery anime. Like, that's something that pretty much everything, like 5 of the 6 of these shows have in common. I love mysteries. I love trying to figure things out as I watch something. And if that's just who the guy's going to date, I'm going to accept that. I really liked that in theory about a show like How I Met Your Mother. It turned out that was just essentially impossible to ever figure out because they just showed her one day and were like, this is the mother. But Quince didn't do that because Quince is a better show than How I Met Your Mother.
Hot take. I love it.
Wow.
And I fucking can't. I every time I think about How I Met Your Mother, I like it less. So, you know, I've read all of the manga for Quince. It doesn't stick the ending. I would say it stumbles and sprains his ankle. But at the end, I think that the ending makes sense. And when you like are like who Futuro chooses makes sense. And when you look back, it's all put together, and you can like learn things about interaction that have happened based on the knowledge that you now have. And I think that's something that's like really cool about it. Also, Nino Nakano is in it, and she's dope. So number 1 girl of this season per the most recent rankings.
So far, yeah.
Who could have seen it coming? And so that is what I have got. That is my 9.
I like it. I like it. The only thing that I thought would be interesting to add, and I thought that it was possible that you might have added, was either Fate Apocrypha or Rising of the Shield Hero for the wrong reasons.
Yeah, so like that is, I hate them so much. I thought about putting in Shield Hero because
Yeah.
I love hating on Rising of the Shield Hero. I have like literally written like pages of papers on like why I hate Shield Hero and why it's garbage.
That's not a joke, by the way.
Yeah, no,
Yes,
it's not.
No, I know. We know. We're nodding in agreement. We've seen them. We've
It's-
seen them.
I've done that, and
Papers.
yeah. So like, I think that I like thought about doing that, but like ultimately, I don't want to define myself about like what I think is complete trash. I want to like define myself by like the things I enjoy, and that's why I decided to do it that way.
That's cool. I have a similar sort of idea with a couple of the shows on my list. But I like your Tokyo Godfathers. I think I liked what you were saying about how it's weird that that's like the one you like the most, and it's I agree. I think that was my favorite of the Satoshi Kons too, because Perfect Blue does this thing with the ending where it's open ended, but and there is no clear like okay, it's open ended, but this is probably what's going to happen. Like it's literally you can't piece together like what the correct answer, so to speak,
Yeah.
is or the right versus with uh Tokyo Godfather is like yeah okay her father just walks it. He walks into the room and then it cuts to the movie fades away, but like it's implied that oh they are going to resolve their differences, they are going to or try to
Yeah.
at least move on together, you know. So like it's open ended, but it's not completely unanswered, if that makes sense. And that's what I really liked about Tokyo Godfathers too. Johnny, you got anything?
Yeah, I'm just surprised you didn't put Mononoke. That's the
I
only
thought
thing.
Mononoke. I thought as well might
Yeah,
be
so I
there.
do really like Mononoke, but like a lot of the things that I like about Mononoke are just sort of conglomerations of these other things. Um, and you know, like I like Mononoke more than I like some of these anime. But like I don't think it, you know, much like some of these other things, I don't think it says anything like super unique about like what I like because we can get like I like the mysteries, I like the avant-garde stuff, I like all of the stuff like that from these other things I can put together. Like maybe it would have been a good like tie the bow at the end, but I wanted to get something a little different in there. But I guess Konosuba is a bit different too. But like you know, that's
And
why
Quince.
I put Quince in. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the Konosuba. My favorite part of Konosuba, and I feel bad for not putting it on my list, but it was like right on on the cusp. Is all the characters, like you said, have such big flaws to them and are so obnoxious. But what everything that happens in the show has something to do with the characters and their stats, or their stats are explained. And it's like
Oh
you know
yeah. Well,
Kazuma
yeah.
rock paper scissors. Kazuma's never lost a game of rock paper scissors. That's why his luck stat, or it's because his luck stat's super high. Like this shit like that constantly, and it's you don't need to know it to like enjoy Konosuba, uh, but it's there, and it just adds another layer to the enjoyment for
The
me for
cause
that
and
show.
effect in Konosuba is
Yeah,
fantastic.
it's
Like
so
literally
good.
everything that happens causes something else to happen, which causes something else to happen, and
Yep.
it's amazing.
It's so well.
Yeah,
It's so well. It's creatively written. That's why what makes it such a good comedy.
so well put together.
hmm
All
All
right,
right.
Pat, you ready?
All right, yeah, I am. All right, so my 9 top to there's no real particular order to them, but yeah, top left all the way down to bottom right. I have Naruto, I have SAO or Sword Art Online, I have Teppen Toppen Gurren Lagann. I said that wrong, but I don't care. I have Rooney Kenshin, I have Violet Evergarden, and then it goes off the rails a little bit here from the norm. We have High School of the Dead, Kill la Kill, Golden Kamui, and Your Name as my 9. And yeah, so I guess we'll just start right at the top. So when I first got into anime or manga, really is what I should say, uh, I was probably about 9 or 10 years old. So this is way back in mid 2000s. I was given for Secret Santa. I was given the first 3 volumes of Naruto and the first 2 volumes of Rurouni Kenshin by some cousin's mother of mine or something randomly, and I didn't know at the time, but she would start me down this terrible addiction to anime that I have now. So thank you to that, whichever aunt gave it to me. I don't even remember which one it was either. But yeah, I've since Naruto is on this list because it was my first experience into anime. Both the show, watching it growing up, you know, racing home from school to catch it on Cartoon Network, to also still owning all 72 volumes of the manga. You know, I would be reading it as it was published in print. You know, I'd be racing to Barnes and Noble every couple months when they would back before they really were releasing manga too. It was such a pain in the ass. There would be some days they'd release 3 volumes, and then it'd go 2 years without releasing another one in English, and it was so frustrating growing up trying to read Naruto. But man, kids these days have it so easy. Yada yada yada, whatever. Um, I loved Naruto. It's really what got me into anime. And then Sao is on this list. That's next. Sao is what got me into watching anime habitually, I guess I should say, because I always liked Naruto. I always liked Pokemon growing up, but I didn't really watch it like consistently. It was more like, oh, I'd watch a random series here and there. Once I watched SAO based off of a friend's recommendation, it really got me into or opened my eyes to anime, and it got me hooked. I will come to SAO's defense at any moment. There are plenty of flaws with this show, but god damn it, why is it suddenly the punching bag when there's so many better punching bags in the anime series? You know, like Fairy Tail is there. Like there's so many other shows that you could hate on
I haven't
instead of
even watched
SAO.
Fairy Tail,
I
bro.
just well, yeah, but I've had friends who have watched both say Fairy Tail is garbage. I'm joking, by the way. People can like what they want to like. It's fine, but just I don't understand the. I guess I understand it because it became so popular, so it's really fun to shit on popular things.
I understand because it has rape, but
So does let me now your lists don't really have any of those topic matters, I guess, looking at your 4 or 8 or 9, whatever the fuck our number is that we have. But I don't know, good
81.
shows can have that subject matter in it. It doesn't do it well, but that didn't put me off that badly. I didn't care. It's just it's part of the show and it moved on. That's not what I liked about it, you know. So
it
I don't
happened like
know.
4
Sao
times.
it not every time was that poorly done, I don't think. As poorly done as people give it credit for being either.
Uh,
So, you know what? The purpose of them that happening was to make you hate the characters, and sure as hell makes you hate them. Whether that's the correct way to make you hate a character or not, that's up to debate. I probably be on your side in that debate as well, but you know what? It is what it is. There's so much more about that show to like, and I really it just holds such a good place in my heart because it was my first seasonal that I watched, or not seasonal. The show that got me watching things seasonally, especially SAO2. I remember watched the whole first series and then I started watching the second season as it was airing weekly. It's what made me get a Crunchyroll subscription. You know, like way back in I think 2017, something like that. So that's when I really started getting into it. Um, Gurren Lagann is next on this list. It's one of my favorite anime of all time. I think it is not only critically or not only enjoyment wise like a 10 out of 10, but I also think critically it is damn near perfect, which is hard for a 25 episode show to do. I don't think that there are any bad episodes. There's not a bad character in this show. Everyone is so fleshed out and explored. And man, if I could just watch the show for the first time and like get that experience back, I would do it, and I'd pay whatever it costs for me to have to have my mind memory altered to not remember it because this show is phenomenal. I remember binging it all in one night. It was in college. I was putting off a paper, so I put this show on and watched all 25 episodes the first time, and then 2 weeks later, I went back and rewatched it because I couldn't believe how good it was. Again, I it's such a good show. I watch Gurren Lagann. It's got great waifus. It's got great characters. Fantastic protagonists. I love Nia. Nia is such a fun character. Her
So good.
relationship with Simone is so good. Oh my god, I love this show, and it is one of I also like looking at it critically too because it is a fun show to talk about when discussed critically. One of my favorite YouTubers, best guy ever, did a video on why it's the best anime ever, which of course may be a little tongue in cheek, but it's he makes a very compelling argument for it. Check out his video if you want to. I think it's great. Uh, I love this show. And again, it's like I don't have a so-called favorite anime, but I have like like 3 to 5 shows that I consider my favorites, and this is one of them. Uh, Next up is Rooney Kenshin. So, like I talked about with Naruto, the show holds a special place in my heart because it was the manga itself. I started reading when I was like 8 or 9. It was one of my first introductions to anime, um, and it was more seinen than Naruto. You know, it was more mature subject matter, more adult characters than Naruto was. So it was a little different. And then I watched the anime just later on in my career, once I started watching more anime, I picked up I was like, oh, that's right, I used to read this. Let me watch this and see what it's like. And the anime is really fun. Again, the author is I'd like to separate the work from the author because the author has done some scummy things, but the
Yeah, you
work
could say
itself,
that.
yeah, yeah, scummy is a good way to put it. I don't know what else to say. I mean, don't even want to talk about what he's done. He's a fucked up guy. He doesn't deserve any praise for what he's done in his life. But this story is so well done, and I think it also speaks to my interests as a person. I love history. I love I like romance stories, and this is one of the best done romance shonen stories I think out there. I think it does a good job with that. I love the art style. It's from the '90s, so it's got that vintage look to it. So that's the other reason why I put it on this list. Other than the fact that yeah, it's been my profile picture on Discord forever. I love this
Since I've
show.
known you, yeah.
Yeah, since I've known you, yeah, I love this. I love that Kaoru and Kenshin are so good together. They are so lovable. The two of them interacting is great. And again, I haven't seen a romance in a show done so well like I have in this one, where at least in a shonen, I should say, like in a shonen series, it does it so well. And again, who doesn't uh like swords or samurai? Like that's so sick. It's so cool. The time period too, takes place right at the beginning of the Meiji era of Japanese history, which is a very, very important time where electricity is just starting to happen, or spread around the country. Steam engines, the outside world is finally starting to break into this isolationist country. So it's Japan forcing itself to go from having just samurai as their self-defense to now having police forces and militaries and uniting as a country. It's such a cool time in Japanese history, and I think it does a really good job of exploring that as well. We'll go more into my interests as well with one of the later on shows. But the next up is Violet Evergarden. This show, we've already talked about it. I think Pete was the one who had it on. He said it's his favorite anime of all time. This is another one, just like Gurren Lagann, one of my favorites. It's up there. It's top three. It's definitely not three either. It's I've never been so emotionally moved by a story. Again, I binged it all in one night the first time, and then and this goes for the movie as well. I went and saw the movie in theaters, I think in January or February. So it was right before COVID started shutting everything down, and it was just it was a completely different experience from the Konosuba experience, where everyone in the theater was hooting and hollering with Konosuba. With this movie, everyone, you could hear a pin drop, because the everyone was so invested in the story that was being told. I cannot wait for the sequel movie, or the finale movie, so to speak. That I can't wait for it to come to streaming services or theaters in the U.S. I want to know what happens. I want to see the conclusion of the story. I think it was my anime of the decade in terms of series from the 2010s. I it's I don't know what more to say about it. It's beautifully animated, really well directed, really well an interesting plot and time period too. It takes place in essentially what could be described as like a fantasy post World War One uh like location. Like in a fantasy world. I don't know. I love it. I could gush so much about the show. We already have in our Violet Evergarden episode of Watch Club, and you can hear Miles just break all of our hearts collectively, and make us not give this show a goddamn 10 out of 10 like it deserves. It's okay though. It's okay though. You know what? Some people just don't have
We learn
taste.
from our mistakes.
Yeah,
And you all certainly will learn eventually. I
yeah,
believe.
someday,
Alright, we'll
maybe
watch
someday.
NTR later.
All right, so moving on from some more of my favorite shows, because I think they're good critically and enjoyment wise. I think the next show on my list I put on here because it's a show that I like unironically love and think is fantastic, and also think that people who say it's bad just are either missing the point or are just ignorant. Like I think that this is the show that I think is like the most underrated show that I like. So that's why I put it on my list here. High School of the Dead. I fucking love this show, and I watched it when I was probably like 14 and horny, and I
Sounds
loved
about
it
right.
then. No, right? No, hold on, no. Yeah, exactly though, right? Like I saw the boob clip or whatever, the clip of the thing going by, and I was like, whoa, that's sick. And then zombies in anime, that never happens. Like we've talked about earlier, there's no horror. Zombies are not talked about in anime at all because partly because in Japanese culture, um, death is a very or the undead are not very prominent in Japanese culture because it just doesn't show up for whatever reason. I don't know. I'm sure there's some cultural thing there, but so this is one of the few zombie anime that's out there, and I just loved it. And I still unironically love it. I think it's fucking great. It knows what it wants to do, and it does it. This show goes full balls to the wall. Uh, Tits in your face like constantly, and that's what it is, and that's it doesn't try to hide that, and I love that, while also unironically I think that the action in it is really real well choreographed and really interesting. I think the characters are actually more interesting than people give them credit for. I think there's a lot of depth in within the characters and their decisions. um I don't know, man. I just wish I feel so terrible about this series because the poor author got sick and passed away, and I really wish someone else would pick up the pen for him because there's so much that he wrote as well beyond what was shown in the series. Uh, like he continued in the manga, and it was I've read it before, and it was pretty impressive. Like I was like, this is he clearly had like a story that he was trying to tell. It wasn't just there to be fan service. It wasn't just there to be to sell copies of a manga or something like that. Like it, I don't know. I just love the show, and I think people who hate on it are just see the clip of the tits bouncing around and the bullet going between them, and then just say, "Oh yeah, it's one of these kinds of shows," and they just hate on it. I don't know. That's my take. So I thought that was like a good representation of my hottest take among like anime in general. That's like more of a unique one to me rather than my take that Toradora sucks, which it doesn't actually suck. It's just not the best. But yeah, moving on, we can that landmine that I just set, we're gonna ignore it. Yeah, there we go. Um, Moving on to Kill la Kill. So this is a series that I put on here because I think this series gets a lot of hate. Um, that I think is, or I think people who uh, I forget how to I don't know exactly how to put this, but I love this series a lot. It was one of my first anime as well, so that's probably part of the reason why it's on here. But I think that this show, people who criticize it for being like, oh, why is everyone naked? Why is clothing uh the source of power? All this and that. Oh, the main problem that I have with what people usually respond to that is that are trying to defend the show is that, oh, you're just missing the point of the show, which is such a stupid argument, but it kind of is what the point of the show is. Like it's a criticism on consumer ideals, right? Like consumerism, and I just loved this series to death. I think the twist as well, I didn't see coming. I don't know if I was just blind, but I had
Which one?
uh, so spoiler for Kill la Kill for the next 15 seconds. The two of them being sisters, I did not see that coming at all. I thought that was very clever that Ryuko and God Satsuri,
Satsuki.
sorry, Satsuki,
Sasuke?
thank you, Sasuke,
Yeah,
yes,
Sasuke.
sisters. I thought that was really clever, and it made sense, and then it made the story make sense too, like why they were connected, why they were so evenly matched, why they were both able to wear senketsu, like that. I don't know. I just again, this series just means so much to me because I think, uh, you know what, people who hate on this series, like just go fucking look at a brick wall. Like if this is made to be bombastic and interesting and crazy, and that's exactly what it was, and I loved that about it. I don't know. I just love Kill la Kill. I
Don't you
can't.
think, not to get too into Kill la Kill, but like, don't you think the show misses its own points with like the way it objectifies Ryuko and stuff?
I think that's
Like,
part of the point, though, is that it's making fun of itself at the same time. I think it's self-aware with the fan service shots and the other things that happen. I personally think that that's like the
Well, even the
purpose of
character,
it.
like the Moncacho family, and like how they try to peep on her and like sexually assault her and stuff.
Yeah, no, I think that is commentary on itself. I don't know. That's
Okay.
the way I interpreted it. That's the way I interpreted it. I can see why you wouldn't. But I think that, yeah, like that's, again, it's not that the show is immune to criticism either. Like that's where, like, Gurren Lagann I think is like pretty damn perfect. It's all, or it's about as perfect as you can get. Kill la Kill definitely isn't perfect, but I really really love this show, and I think people who hate on it just, it frustrates me because it's like it's kind of what the point is. But yeah, so the next show on the list is Golden Kamui, which is partly my diversity pick, but also the one I think that represents my interests the most. Uh, as I've talked about in the past, I love history. You know, I graduated from university with a degree in history, and Japanese history in general. I've always found an interest in. You know, again, Kenshin really got me into that. But even then, Naruto does a little bit of it as well, with, at least with the culture in Japan. And I think Gon Kamui does all of those things where it's a historical fictional heist drama that's also an absurdist comedy similar to Konosuba. So that's why I threw that on this list. I think anybody who isn't watching the show is missing out. Clearly, most of Japan agrees with me. It's not as popular out west, which is interesting. Uh, but in Japan itself, it's actually an extremely popular series. So I can't wait to get a third season, or a fourth season of it, rather, um, announced and published. I think all the characters are really fun. The two main protagonists, I really like how they don't, uh, they have a love for each other, but it is like a platonic, comradic love rather than a romantic love that is usually hard to find in anime between a male and a female protagonist. You know, like usually they fall in love, happy ending, whatever. Like in this one, it's very clear that they are just like platonically mutual. Like they have a great care for each other, like family almost. And I think watching their relationship develop while also enjoying the absurd comedy moments, and exploring the culture of Japan. You know, like again, this is based in around the Meiji era, so the 1800s, early 1900s, and it's cool seeing the local Japanese tribes people meshing with Japanese soldiers who just fought in the Japanese Russian War. You know, like that kind of stuff is. Uh, I think it's really cool to see them uh, interact and eating food together and learning about each, oh, what caribou brain, like that's a delicacy, like really. And then uh oh, you guys eat soy, like it smells terrible, like that kind of, like seeing their cultures like meet and come to be what, uh that you follow this party around as they do, essentially follow through with a heist. And it's so much fun. I again, I think it's just, it's a great time, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, uh, which I really like as well. And yeah, so that's Golden Kamui. I highly recommend it. Very very fun show. And then the last one on this list is Your Name. This movie I think is my favorite movie I've ever seen. Uh, like I said earlier about Gurren Lagann, I wish I could go back and watch it for the first time. I think I'm not alone in saying that I wish I could watch Your Name for the first time again in theaters or in wherever. I don't know. I just wish I could experience that shock when when the pen just drops and you just you're just, and it's completely silent and you're just stunned. You're just like, what? What's going on? And the movie only gets better every time you rewatch it. There's things that you missed, things that you didn't see the first time or didn't know to watch for in the first time you watch it. I can totally see how this movie became a fun phenomenon back in, was it 2016, I believe, when it released in Japan. And I don't know, this anime movie was stunning. It opened my eyes to Makoto Shinkai as well, who his filmography, I've seen all of it now, and I've pretty much loved every single movie he's made. Weathering with You was great. 5 centimeters per second was great. The Garden of Words was fantastic. Like again, I've watched almost every single movie he's ever published and enjoyed every single one of them. So I can't wait for him to announce his next project. But yeah, so I figured I'd throw that Your Name on the list because he's my favorite director as well. And yeah,
Right
so that's
on.
my list of 9. Yeah.
I guess the only thing that I feel like, at least in my interpretations, I feel like you lean more like melodramatic / romance / comedy.
Yep.
And I'm surprised I didn't see something like Origairu on here, Golden Time.
That's what I was gonna say.
Something like
yeah,
along those
Origairu
lines.
was the
Yeah,
one
like-
that I
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, so I thought while I was putting this list together, I was like, Origairu is missing, right? And that and Golden Time, I thought about putting Golden Time on there, but again, I feel like those shows are uh well, for one, I expected one of us to have Origairu on the list. Honestly, I was shocked that none of us had it, and I figured that'd be my time to talk about it. But yeah, like Origairu is would be like number 10, right? Because I love that series. I love the characters in it. Golden Time, I think, is could maybe replace High School of the Dead as like the show that I think everyone hates on that is a lot better than it deserves. But when I was looking at my list last night while I was putting this together, I was like, man, what shows like truly moved me, and what shows really changed my perspective on whether that's life or anime or Japanese culture, whatever's going on, and what shows like best describe um, my perspective, I guess. And I think that these shows would uh, were the best way to put it. Like what me as an anime fan looks for and sees, which of course I really do wish I could have put Origairu on this list. I really wish I had a 10th slot for it. Because that show is so much to me, and I do lean into melodramatics and uh and romance a lot. Those are my two favorite categories, which is why I figured Violet was enough, Violet, Kenshin, both of those have those elements thrown in. Uh SAO has romance as well, as people love to shit on it, but the two main characters, their relationship is a highlight of that show. Same thing with Your Name. It's a very melodramatic show. So I was like, all right, what, that's got enough representation there, that I was content with it. So yeah.
Right on.
Great.
Anybody else have anything to say about Pat's list?
I mean, you sort of summed it. Like, I'm surprised about the number of like action shows that are on here. Like, I guess they all make sense, except for I don't know. I don't think I've ever heard you talk about Kill la Kill. But like by themselves, they all make sense. Like, I'm not surprised to see any one of these on the list, if that makes sense. I guess I'm surprised by the pervasiveness of them on your list. Or they're like the majority of your list.
Yeah, I guess they are. When you think about, I guess they are. A lot of them are action, so to speak. But the thing is, I don't think any of them alone is like an action show. Like I'm not watching them for the action that is in them. That's something that I've always I guess that I would notice, like Kenshin, it has action, it has sword fighting, but that's not the focus of the show. The focus is the relationships between the characters and the history between them, and everything going forward between the two of them, or between the cast of characters. High School of the Dead, it's action. Like, sure, yeah, it's
And
action, but
tits.
it's
Don't forget
also
the tits.
it's zombies. It's a cool story. It's a zombie story. Gurren
Zombies have
Lagann
tits.
is a story about boyhood, boy turning into a man, and what that experience is like. Sao is a romance and a story of a hero. Golden Kamui is a comedy and a heist, like while also having action. Kill la Kill is a story of a girl fighting the system and trying to get answers and succeed in life. So I guess that's why. And again, Naruto was just my first. It was and even then, Naruto has a lot more to it than just the action itself.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they're like only action. I guess I just would have expected more like, Origairu's Golden Time, things that like lack action, I guess, like Bunny Girl Senpai, something
That's
like that.
the other
like,
show that I was thinking, like, man, I really wish I could have found some room for it on my list. But I was just like, man, like, which show affected me more, like, or which show did I feel like would be uh more representative of me or my perspective. And I was just like, you know what, these shows, like Cowboy Bebop's another show that I thought about throwing on, that I just was not. I was just like, man, I love this show. You're gonna carry that weight stuck with me for so many days. I thought about that fucking end card, like, like it just completely moved me. But I was just like, man, what do I take off? Like, there's, I guess Kill la Kill would be the only one that I would take off, and that one I was like, that was the one I was most iffy on. But I think that, um, I just love it. The music in it, it's so iconic. It's such a
the music is very good. I feel like Kill la Kill takes like a worse. It's like it's like the same slot as High School of the Dead for you. where you think it's like better than some of the criticisms and stuff that it might have against it, and that's like why you wanted to put it there, because you wanted to like bolster your support for it. But I guess I've just never, because I like am kind of mean to Kill la Kill like all the time.
Oh
And
yeah,
You are. You are.
I've never heard you say anything about it, I guess. And if I said something mean about the other shows on this list, which I frequently do,
yes, you do.
You're right there to defend them.
It's hard. It's hard to defend Kill la Kill because I think it's either you agree
I bring
with the
up the
message it's
bathtub
sending.
scene like a lot, and
The
I just
bathtub
don't think
scene I
that's
defend.
very-
See,
How do you defend that? There are infinity better ways to portray that.
There are, but just because there are better ways doesn't mean that's the only way you can do it. I don't know if you.
No, it's not that there's a better way.
How would you do it in a better way?
How would I show that her mother is controlling her? In a better way than her mother walking into the bathtub and fingering her? Let me think how I would do that. I don't know, but give me 10 minutes and I bet I could come up with 30 ideas.
To me, that just showed that she has. She was naked. She was exposed. She had no control. It was a way to show that she had absolutely, literally zero control. This was in her. When people say when you're nude, you are at your most exposed. You're at your most
Proud.
vulnerable. And
Yeah.
her mother came in and violated her, gave her no control in that situation, gave her no choice, no options, and just basically just said, "I run this. This is me. I am in charge."
I just think
I feel like there could be another way to do that.
Yeah, but they didn't. So what? That's another way.
There's
another way.
It's a bad directorial decision.
No, it's not.
Yes, because it's a bad way to do that. It's absurd.
I don't know.
It takes away from the meaning because of how
It's not
awful
absurd.
it is.
It's not that absurd, is it? Because it
It
highlights how awful
it goes away from the mother being like controlling to making and I guess she is a cartoon villain, but making the mother a cartoon villain, right? Like,
but that's the entire show
is
about
a cartoon villain, though.
And
yeah, I do get that. I don't know.
We have two different perspectives on it.
And that's my point, though. So, like, I feel like it's either you're on the side where you're just like, it's intentionally absurd, and that's what I liked about it, versus why is it so absurd? That's dumb.
Yeah.
Like, I guess that's the two perspectives, which is why, again, I think I get why people criticize Kill la Kill.
Pat's all like, and we're just like, bruh. I don't know. We have two very different sides to this story.
Pete, did you get a soundboard or something?
He
Like,
did.
Crazy. No way. I had no idea.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was just me.
Yeah.
That was just me doing that with my mouth.
Mm-hmm. Never mind. I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, that's my list. And hopefully, if you guys want to come talk about these shows, any of the shows that we've talked about, come do it. Come join our Discord, right? All right, Pete.
Yeah, come on, come join our Discord. Well, hopefully, you guys got like a better understanding of like our taste, our like background, things that like mean something to us in anime, and just like get an overall perspective on us. But yeah, we have a Discord. We have a Twitter. You should join it. Follow us. You know the vibes. Yeah, but I just want to say thank you if you made it this far. Really appreciate this. Really fun episode. And yeah, if you're interested in all that, yeah, come join us. Otherwise, we'll see you in a week for Watch Club. So thanks a lot. We'll see you then.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.